pushing the boundaries of expectations, and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life, a huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Greetings and welcome back, KB Creators, for another adventure advancing our minds, advancing our bodies, advancing our souls, advancing ourselves to manifest our best lives together.
Yes.
StephenCanyon.com is the website. Miss Maggie, hello, Miss Maggie.
Advancing.
How are you?
Go. I'm really wonderful. How
Shout
are you?
out. I don't even like to say shout out, but hello to listeners. Here's who's listening today.
Okay.
We got the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Jersey, Australia, United Arab Emirates, the Netherlands tuned in, South Africa, Ireland, Mexico, New Zealand, Sweden, something unknown in parentheses, India, Indonesia, Japan, Philippines, Portugal, Singapore, and South Korea, and that's just 20 different countries
I
there.
feel like unknown is someone listening from the CIA or something.
That's probably your mother.
It probably is. Hey, Mom, what
Yeah.
are you doing? Unknown.
What a day it's been so far, right?
Oh, wonderful. Yes. And we're podcasting.
And
Best
we're
part of the day.
podcasting. Yes. Okay, so now we've seen lights over the ocean. I mean, we're here on the ocean right now, and haven't we? We've got a history of
Yes.
seeing weird things in the sky.
I will admit to it. Yes.
And have you noticed in the news, it's almost like every other day there's a little story or blurb that comes in online.
Yes.
It's talking about UFOs, Tic Tacs,
I know.
flying
Like,
saucers
is this a joke? Are they
all over
actually
the world.
Admitting all this stuff?
Well, apparently they've been seeing it forever and ever, but now they're beginning to release these stories or proof of it from the Pentagon and the CIA. But now you and I, we've seen these things.
We have.
I mean, at least in a
Yes.
way, we don't really talk about it around other people because, who wants to get the side eye?
Yeah, so don't tell anybody, guys. If you're listening.
They're cutting their, I guess, what are you supposed to say? Okay, we all see something that's extraordinary now. Well, okay, let's
exactly.
let's go to Starbucks.
That's a great point.
And get on with what we can do.
What
So now
box?
what?
What mental box should I put Bigfoot in? Excuse me.
I love it when somebody says, "Do you believe in UFOs?" And I'm thinking, do I believe in flying objects that I cannot identify? Absolutely. Sure. I don't know if it's a 747 or 787.
Right? Is that an F-18?
That's a bad joke.
That's pretty. I thought it was a good
believe it.
joke.
Of course I believe in all
Yeah.
that stuff.
I love it.
Well, last night,
And we have seen some weird things.
really have.
Yeah.
That's another podcast. Last night, how about Sirius?
Oh man!
Right?
So cool.
It
was so cool.
Well, it was one of those moments where I'm like, Megan, get over here now, because we've seen these things before.
Yeah.
And huge bright light, maybe, from our perspective, 10 feet above the ocean horizon in the night sky. It's the only thing in the sky.
It was low. It was
lit
low.
up, and I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah.
this is an airplane because of how the lights were expanding and contracting and dancing and moving around.
Yes.
But so I love the Sky Guide app on my phone.
It's really cool. I want to know how they even did that. How do you even do that?
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
Well, I guess we should explain like the way you.
Well, you can hold your phone up to the sky and it will show you on the app, where planets are, what you're looking at in the
Yeah.
night sky. It'll tell you the star system.
It's basically
You
like
can-
VR, I guess.
Yeah.
Like virtual reality, just showing you all the planets,
But then
all the stars.
it tells you what it is. You touch on it, it'll give you all the information about it, the history of it, if
Yeah.
it's a dragon or a dog's tail or whatever it is.
Do you remember in Sedona, Arizona, we would just lay out on the deck and we would look for satellites, and if you would see a satellite, sort of streaming across the sky, catching the light, you could actually point the app and it would tell you like the space junk that you're looking
most
at.
of those are space junk. They don't even work anymore. This
yeah.
was launched in 1959, and it was by the Russians and the what was left
Isn't
of
that amazing?
Sputnik. Whatever.
How? It's a booster from the 80s.
Yeah, but
It's
okay.
amazing.
All right, so
Okay,
I'm looking at the Sky app, and it says, from Orion, look south and then to the east to find brilliant Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. So there we know, okay, this is not it's no longer unidentified. It was a UFO until that moment. Now we know that it's Sirius.
True.
And the app says that because of its brilliance, Sirius is the champion of all twinklers.
It is
I like
very
that.
bright.
Wouldn't you like to be a champion of twinklers?
I think you are. My nickname for you.
But okay,
Yes.
so it says the effect is called the twinkling is caused by these variable refraction in the Earth's atmosphere, right? There is so much information, and we should be sponsored by this app, by the way. But there's so much information on the Sky app, the Sky God app, of what it's made of. It's metal rich. Its iron content is double that of the sun, but its high mass. Now get this.
Okay.
Its high mass and tiny radius lead to an amazing average density of 1.7 metric tons per cubic centimeter. Roughly, that's the size of a sugar cube.
Oh my goodness.
A sugar cube.
That's so cool.
1.7 tons.
That's
We
kinda,
can get a piece of Sirius and put it here on this table, and it would break it.
That's weird.
That's the size
That's
of a
hard
sugar
to think
cube.
about, honestly.
Well,
That's
of course, if we brought it
weird. That's true. It weighs
to the
It only
Earth
weighs that much there.
on Sirius,
Yeah.
but you bring it here, and it probably expands to maybe fill up a dump truck or something.
Yes, theoretically, I guess.
I
That
think
sounds
that's
right.
fascinating, right?
It's really cool. We were, and it's fun to sort of nerd out about these things, isn't it? Just to see this insane light in the sky. And it did. Did you think it looked brighter here than in Sedona? Because I remember us noticing it in Sedona.
I don't know if it was brighter, but I think it was dancing. It was twinkling more here. It
Like
seemed
more
like
clarity
it was
or
Yeah,
something.
but gosh, in Sedona, the night sky there, the moon was bigger than the mountains. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, here comes the moon.
Oh my word.
It was pretty amazing.
That we have to tell that story on another podcast.
That we were out on the full moon night, and
No,
we were
don't give
out-
it away. Don't give it away. Another podcast.
Oh, but it was so okay.
It's such a good story. We'll tell it next
we
time.
weren't we were not alone. We just put it that way. Speaking of identifying stars, what we identify ourselves with as human beings, and that's what people do, is we are conditioned to identify with things, with stories that we tell ourselves. We identify ourselves with whatever it is. It can also be so dense and that it crushes your human spirit. Identifying with something that's really not you, and it's crushing.
Wow.
In other words, believe the wrong thing about you, and you can suffocate under the weight of something that really doesn't even exist except in your mind.
Wow.
You've made it into something that doesn't exist, and it only exists as long as you're existing to think that it is real. Having the kind of belief that adheres to and relies on something is only the beginning to changing your identity. And that's really what I want to talk about today, is shifting your identity to manifest what you should be realizing in your life. And it's a matter of getting rid of the stuff that's been heaped on you. We talk about this a lot, but not enough.
Right.
It's the human condition to identify with stories, to transcend your conscious identity of your natural self, the imagined person of you, the one that, to transcend the person of you that's worried, to transcend the person of you that you've created that's doubtful or that identifies with some kind of a story of winning even. It doesn't have to be negative.
Right.
Maybe you are identifying with the label, I'm a winner.
Right.
The label, I'm a loser. The issue there is that identifies with what others have told you about you, either way. Now, to see yourself successful, intrinsically successful because you are that you are, is appropriate and proper identification. But to identify because someone has given you permission, that's where we start to, like a train, become a wreck and run right off the tracks.
Yes.
To transcend the essence of your true being, to put it over your natural self, your supernatural self in first place, and have this creative breakthrough. You've got to make a decision and affirm to yourself by saying with conviction that, you know what, I'm willing to do this, Megan. I am willing to do the work, to put in the time, to do the journaling, to do the meditative process of thinking in terms of originality of who I really am. I'm willing to roll up my kinetic belief sleeves and put in the work. Because if you're not willing to do that, you can't be successful at being you as a part-timer. It's a full-time way of life.
This makes me think about a proverb, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't know it by heart, but it basically goes, "Oh, how great a fire a little flame will kindle." And like you're telling us, it can go in either direction. You know, you're going to set something ablaze, and it can either go into this positive direction or this wildly, negative direction.
Yeah, the declaration that, you know what, I'm willing brings your will in line with your kinetic belief.
Whoa. Boom. Yes. The declaration that you're willing brings your will in line with your kinetic belief. I mean, we could just sit on that for days.
Yes, we can.
Couldn't we? And it seems like willingness, what you're teaching us, it seems like it's the beginning to all good things. We all know that sort of yucky, sinking feeling of just doing something we don't want to do. And those results are never good. If you just don't want to do something.
Kicking and screaming all the way down to wherever you're going. Don't want to go.
Right.
To decide that you're willing is deciding to take a stand to break through every hindrance, every doubt by not identifying with the labels and never again accepting any concept of failure into your life. Failure is a concept. Failure, the idea of failure, it's just conceptualized. It's not a real thing. Failure has no form. It's a label. Just like somebody calling someone a loser. Does that make them the essence of the eternal substance of a loser? Well, of course not, unless they choose to identify with loser. Right. I have the story, and I think that I am, therefore I am. When you can say with the total conviction of your highest identity, I will, you're saying, I will kinetically believe the way I should go. I will believe the very best for my life, for my family, for my health. I'll believe that for today, for this moment. I'm already established in the way I should advance my mind. I'm established in the way I will advance my body. I am established in the way I'm advancing my soul. I am strong. I am willing that I am bold. I am disciplined in my mind to be able to choose the thoughts that I'm going to adhere to for my enjoyment. You see, I attract and manifest every single form that I have identified with as being mine. And I do it by journaling my life as I choose it to be. Why do I journal? Because it gives me the freedom to work in the constructs like an architect, building outward from the essence, core sense of who I am, the highest viewpoint and thought forms for the life that I imagine it to be. And by doing so, I am willing to refuse to give up until I see in my imagination my supernatural breakthrough. And that's when we're able to rise above our natural selves.
This is the definition of determination, isn't it? You're determined to discipline your mind, determined to journal your best life, determined to refuse to give up. So you're telling us that you're doing something that you are, willfully determined to do.
That's it. This is the epitome of a willing soul.
Yes.
Or what some call a willing heart, whichever. And that may sound simple, but a lot of people just aren't willing to do what it takes to see their lives as they say that they wish they were.
Yeah.
It's easy to say it. I mean, they'd rather blame family, blame the economy, blame the pain for whatever's wrong or missing by saying, well, it's just my fate. I believe in fate, don't you, Steve and Megan? That's my fate. Obviously it is. This is how my life is unfolded. It must be my destiny. That's what it is, to never get a break in life. That is the biggest lie anybody ever told themselves or anyone else. Every single human being was designed and created to be able to overcome any obstacle, to be stronger when they are willing than whatever can be felt or whatever can be seen or heard in the natural. But you got to be willing. For example, relationships that are established on unconditional love, that celebrate, that encourage and champion and edify one another, cannot exist without the cognizant willfulness of those in that relationship, like with you and me.
Yes.
You and I, I'm willing, but you've also got to be willing, Meg.
Yeah, two to tango.
That's right.
Yes.
Thank God you're willing. I don't know anybody else that is, but I'm grateful that you are.
Hey, ditto. Right back at you, man.
In other words, KB relationships that are constructs of kinetic belief are intentionally enlightened. You stir yourself up in your love for me every day because it doesn't happen naturally.
Oh, come on.
No, shouldn't say that. I'm just
I love
throwing
you.
you.
I can't help myself.
Softball. But this transcends the natural.
Yes,
That means
yes.
that you have a part to play in the relationship. You are identifying with the essence of your original being when you do this. The oneness of you that just is. The being of you that vibrates at the frequency of pure light, pure love, and the pure energy of you.
Wow. So what we identify with, good or bad, is really, well, it's our identity. And that's what we begin to experience in life. I mean, it's a huge revelation. It seems so harmless to identify with things other than our original self. But isn't that where so many of us get, just tripped up? We think we're moving in one direction. We think we're working on manifesting one thing, but later we realize we were identifying with something completely different. All that effort going in the wrong direction. It reminds me of one of my very first soccer games. As a kid, I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I just remember I was at the sidelines and I saw the ball come toward me and I kicked that ball, man. Oh, it just went down like the length of the field.
Which, by the way, you can kick a ball.
Oh, man, I nailed it. I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
It was all, I'm so tiny too. And then I remember I was so proud. And then I hear the coach go, "Megan, that was the wrong direction."
Oh, but you kicked it.
I was so
You were
proud.
good
But
at
that's what this makes me
kicking.
think of.
Yeah.
We think we're doing one thing, but technically we're connecting with the negative, the wrong direction.
Well, we want to be known.
Yeah.
We want somebody to know that, hey, I'm a photographer. Can't you tell by the hat that I wear?
Look at my vest with
Look
all the
at
pockets.
my suspenders.
You wouldn't believe it.
I am a plumber. I am a carpenter. I'm a telemarketer. Can't you tell by the size phone I carry
Yes.
with me? I don't know.
The uniform.
But we want people to know us. So, you could say that there is, if you are identifying with something that is not you, if you have stories to tell that say, this is who I am, you could say that there is then a wobble in your vibrational energy.
Ooh, I like that.
Because when we
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
your willingness, of course, everything that happens is not necessarily your will that it happens in your life. Not necessarily. Otherwise, everyone on the planet would be healthy, wealthy, wise, and in love.
Yeah, right.
But that's not the case. But when you are willing to do what it takes and commit action to activate your kinetic belief, you will manifest what you are adhering to and relying upon. So the question that we come right back around to is, are you willing? Are you willing to observe your thoughts continually as they come in, and not as something that is you? Because you're having the thought, that doesn't make that you. The thoughts are separate. There's something for you just to observe, to be entertained by. The thought comes in, and you should have the ability just to smile at it. Mm-hmm. Oh, there you are. Aren't you cute today?
I see you.
I can see you.
I see you over
And
there.
now it's not to identify with, but to choose the thoughts that you will use like a tool in order to advance your life.
Yeah.
Not to go chasing after it with a sense of urgency. Oh, yes, my goodness, I've got to pay attention to you. Where are we going? I'm going to follow you anywhere I need to go, because after all, this could be horrible, something terrible that you need to show me that I need to take care of right now.
Yeah, let's go look at it.
Because I've identified with it.
Right.
Are you willing to leave behind old negative habitual habits and anything that hinders you in this life, are you willing to put in the meditative kinetic belief work and to do it every day, to journal from the imaginative highest viewpoint, to stop following after thought streams that just beg you to follow after them, because if you don't, something bad's going to happen? Are you willing to make adjustments? That's what it is, in your thinking and in the way that you're living your life.
And I remember when I first heard you talk about this concept of willingness and committing to only choosing these positive thoughts, it felt like a lot of work. You know, your first thought is, geez, how am I going to do all this? But you very quickly teach us, and this is the best part, I think, about being a kinetic believer, that when you make these qualifying decisions, when you make these commitments, you know, if you're willing to stand forever, like you always tell us, you don't have to stand for long. That's the great thing about being a kinetic believer, is that you're not alone in this. You know, your creator, the universe, it's going to meet you in this place of decision and in this place of commitment. And that's what makes it fun and even doable.
You know, if you were riding a train that was heading across, I don't know, the United States, because we're most familiar with that. And let's say that the train is going from coast to coast. But somewhere along about midway, there is one particular train stop where there's 5,000 acres of real estate with your name on it. It's your promised land.
Yeah.
But while you're on the train and it comes up to that whistle stop, you're thinking, gosh, it seems like a lot of work for me to get up and get off of this train. I think I'm just going to sit right here because this is easy.
I just got my cup of coffee.
So, no, I'm not willing to do the
Right.
work. I'm not willing to do something hard. I want to do the easy thing, and I'm going to sit right here. And the train goes on to wherever, a place you don't belong.
Yeah. Wow.
That you get off and, well, you're homeless and you're poor little pitiful you, and how did that ever happen to you? You weren't willing to do what you just said was the hard thing, the hard work. It's actually much easier to do what appears to be hard for you, and it leads to abundant life.
Yes.
You're kinetically believing right now that you've made up your mind that you are willing to do whatever it takes, and it's time to take your first action step and act like you have what it is that you desire.
You know, this reminds me, one of our KBs, she posted a really great photo of her working out in the gym. And she mentioned in the comment how kinetic belief has helped her get in really great shape. I mean, this chick, she was ripped. She's doing pull-ups. I was inspired. I mean,
Is this the one you showed me? She had the back that looked like a road map?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just,
Way to go.
I love seeing these superhuman feats. And she's like, #kinetic belief.
Right? Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Well, you know, one of the best examples of how the natural is changed by the power of action is what happens when, like her, a successful bodybuilder begins to act in the gym.
Yeah.
Because day one, she didn't, well, I don't know her, but probably did not look like the image you're talking about. But the way she had to begin to act in the gym in a way that she expected to manifest the body that she imagined to build. That's the power of kinetic belief on just a fundamental level. The natural is imposed with the essence of the supernatural. And then all things possible, the creative self is transformed what they've imagined to attract. The action of belief literally changes the body. Muscle fibers begin to grow by increasing in size. And then when the KB in the gym subjects their muscles to the heavy resistance, it creates the micro damage to muscle fibers and all the muscle cells that make up the muscle. And in response to that overload, the weight that, the resistance, the contractile proteins called the actin and the myosin, all that stuff which makes up the muscle fiber begins to increase in size and number. And then the natural, what's happening is being transformed by the action of belief. You're willing to put in the work and the action to what you're imagining to see change in this world. And then the bodybuilder changes their physical identity by first, what? Becoming willing. You got to be willing to get up and get off the train.
Right? Sweat a little bit, willing to sweat. Well, and that, that bodybuilding, physical fitness, it's actually just such a great example of the action of kinetic belief that attracts and manifests a desire where there's a KB who's willing. And that's just such a perfect word. I'm in love with this word, willingness.
Willingness. There are a lot of people that have heard a few things about the law of attraction. Lots of people. There are movies and all kinds of things that are introducing the basics of it. And so they choose something to believe for, and then they kick back in their recliners, and they just wait for the manifestation to drop in their laps. And, oh, yeah, that looks exactly like what I put on my refrigerator. Mm-hmm. There it is. It works. That's not how the law of attraction works. When you want to receive something into your life, it's a very small part of it. Just like the confusion around the world with the word believe, regardless of what language you speak, the mistranslation of the word believe, it has been mistranslated from its original meaning. In fact, the Greek word translated receive is lambano, which means to take with the hand. It means to lay hold of, or to take in order to carry away. The word believe means to adhere to and rely on. So receive what you believe. Believe, adhere to, and rely on, and then take with the hand and lay hold of what you believe to, adhere to, and rely on. Take it in order to carry it away with you. You can take what you believe when what you believe is what you are adhering to and relying upon. And you use that kind of belief, which is kinetic belief, the beginning of it, to take with your hand, to lay hold of those things that you know are yours according to your kinetic belief. For example, kinetic belief will heal your body. It'll give you a pony, a car, a house. It'll positively help you nourish your children to grow and become healthy and happy and prosperous adults. They're in your sphere of influence, and they're under your influence. Kinetic belief will cause your finances to flourish and bloom and expand and become more. It'll remove limitations, and it'll conquer anything that's negative that the natural world can throw at you. Anything. Kinetic belief rearranges the universe around you, and it is not some kind of a la carte situation either. It is all or nothing.
Okay, so I've always thought that the all or nothing part of being a successful kinetic believer it's fascinating and it's illuminating. So you're saying that that kinetic belief, that it's rearranging the universe, isn't it? An a la carte situation. I love that. A little of this, a little of that. It's all or nothing. So of course I'm saying all that to say why.
Why is it all or nothing?
Right.
Well, it's because a supernatural KB, first of all, understands that it is the full-time effect. It's the willingness to do the work. It's the full-time effect. You want a full-time effect,
yes.
Not a part-time, which rarely, if ever, works. The full-time effect of your unwavering vibrational energy that attracts substance to form. This is how to use kinetic belief to build your body. This is how you use kinetic belief to heal your body, to attract great wealth, to establish loving relationships, to win the Super Bowl if that's what you desire. Remember, the manifesting kind of receiving means to take by the hand. Take it. The only way you can attract things from out of the universe of things is to fully attract it with faith, with expectation, with quantum theoretical mechanics, with the power of kinetic belief. So, sure, anyone can just leave it up to wishful thinking, but they'll miss out on a lot because that's just not the way that we were created for things to work in our lives. In other words, you can't leave up to fate what has been left up to you.
Wow.
You were created with the responsibility of taking by the hand the things that you desire. It is the opened hand that grasps the gift. But you got to be willing to contend for your supernatural disposition and say, you know what? I believe it. Remember that once you take it in the realm of your supernatural being, you're not going to see it in the natural realm yet, just because you've imagined to take it. It's not going to appear immediately. But this is where the power of having begins to come in, because that's what you're seeking, isn't it? I mean, you're seeking this, and to have the things that you need and that you desire. The definition of the English word have is to possess. It means to own, To say I have it is to say I possess it. I own it. Well, that's easy to understand in the natural. When you hold the deed to some property in your hand, well, you really know that you have it, right?
Yeah.
It becomes something entirely different, though, when you need to have something by kinetic belief. That's why you got to be so careful about what you say you have. Because in the natural, conscious identity of self, you will have what you say. So that being the case, let me ask you the question, what are you saying? We've all been conditioned to say things like, I have a cold, or we're having financial trouble, or I'll never have a good marriage. Or,
I'm so sick of that.
I'm so sick of this. I'm sick of this. I have crazy children, don't you? I mean, if you find yourself saying these things, why are you talking like that? Why are you saying those things? Your words can get you into so much trouble by canceling out what you would otherwise be willing to receive for your life. So instead of all that, say things like, I don't have sickness. Sickness is not part of my identity. I have healing throughout my body. I have abundant provision and financial strength. I have good health. I have strong, loving, encouraging relationships. I have children who are filled with positive light and love, and they are benefiting from my light, my positivity. They're benefiting from my love, from my relationships. Whatever manifestation you are kinetically believing to attract to your supernatural transcending being, just say it out loud. Say, I have it now. And when you do, it's moving toward you. So whatever you do, don't cave in and don't quit. Never stop. Never put a time limit on things either.
Yes.
Your eternal being is not constricted by time anyway. So get out of that framework of thinking. You're not operating within the constraints of time. You're an eternal being. That's from where you are establishing what can be seen in your life. Look, once you believe, don't hurry or worry for it. Just rest and enjoy the ride. Work your patient kinetic belief, and then the law of attraction is going to do all the sweating and heavy lifting for you.
Well, isn't this where the supercharged level of manifesting resides? I love going through the day saying those I haves, because it really does change the way I expect to see things. It actually helps to align my expectations with what I believe to see in my life. I have abundance. I have great health. I have great wealth. I have the love of my life. I'm so fulfilled. I'm so grateful.
And I adhere to and rely on what you just said. I believe you. Yes.
Yeah. And when you say those things, can't you feel it? I mean, it's sort of like, we talked about physical fitness. And the first thing that you learn when you go into the gym is there's a difference between, engaging your muscles and just sort of throwing these little weights around. So when we're saying these I haves, you can feel the engagement. I have, I am, I have, I am.
Yeah, could you sense it when we were watching Nacho Libre and the number one wrestler said, "My thighs are number one"?
No. So wasn't someone telling it was like
he was
a
repeating
lackey.
his coach?
Yes.
That's what it was.
Somebody was actually telling him that your thighs are number one. Your hair is number one.
Your hair.
Oh, man.
If you're going to be a wrestler, you need your hair to be number one.
I'm not ashamed that I love Nacho Libre. Okay, right. There it is.
But you know what? When you're being grateful for what you imagine to have in your hand, gratitude is what brings it into your hands. You've probably heard how light disappears into a black hole.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
How it can't even escape the gravitational pull of a black hole. Well, in exactly the same way, gratitude is the black hole for attracting your best life.
Yes.
Your best life cannot escape from your gratitude.
Oof.
It's attracted to your gratitude. It will come and it will never leave again if you remain powerfully committed, willing in your gratitude. In so many cases, gratitude is the missing modality to crossing over from believing to receiving something. If you're believing for healing, once you go through the steps of kinetic belief, which are you desire to be healed, You imagine to be healed. You're acting like you're healed. You're talking like you're healed. Make certain that you do not leave out your gratitude. Express it in your thoughts. Express it in your meditation.
Yes.
Let it be an expression of your enthusiastic sense of presence, and speak words that affirm your gratitude for being healed. And when you can't sleep because of pain, be grateful that you're healed. When you start to worry about finances, be grateful that you are financially abundant and prosperous. When you're facing the pain of loneliness or the desire for a family, shout it out that you're so grateful for a loving, caring family. It's in that place of gratitude that the greatest victories are won in the natural realm of manifestations. And then if you are willing to change your identity, make certain that you have forgiveness in your sense of self. Because even though this is the very last thing that I even want to bring up today, it is the most important of the kinetic belief modalities. In fact, you could say the others are dependent upon this one thing. And that's because kinetic belief will not work when it's rooted in bitterness. Not the fullness of the holistic best life that's transcended the natural. And here's why. Unforgiveness towards someone else blocks your own unforgiveness for mistakes that you've identified with. In other words, what you believe to be wrong about somebody else is a wrong that you believe. And remember, what you believe, wrong or right, becomes you. It becomes your life. You become an expression of what you say you don't like about somebody else. It is attracting the wrong thing to become your reality. Unforgiveness takes you out of the manifesting power of love. The energetics of love are the most powerful thing in the universe, bar none. Nothing is more powerful than the pure, excited light of love. And this is the source energy of a love that considers nothing wrong. Kinetic belief will not work without the energetics of pure love. And it will not work in the presence of selfishness. It will not work in where there's pride. It will not work for anger and strife, worry, or doubt. It will not work for your advantage. In fact, kinetic belief works to advance life. Unforgiveness, I'm telling you, is an attraction blocker. Unforgiveness is a life wrecker. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, Steve, I just don't need to, I don't have anybody to forgive in my life. Well, just between you and me, that's probably a sure sign that you do. No matter where you are in life, it takes a little time, it takes a little effort just to stop and think of anyone that you have maybe something against. And it doesn't have to be some huge thing. It may not even be somebody that you personally know. It could be as simple as a remark that the checker at the grocery store made to you. It could even be that you haven't forgiven yourself, because that counts too. The stories that you may identify with will keep the natural self in unforgiveness, so you will continue just going round and round and round the same old mountain without enjoying the ability to attract change into your life. Don't waste another of life's minutes doing that. It is not worth it. In fact, you don't have to forgive so someone else is going to benefit from it. No, forgive because you deserve it. Forgive quickly. And watch how fast your supernatural being begins kinetically believing one miracle after another miracle after another miracle after another miracle into existence. Just say this out loud. Let's work on some highest viewpoints.
Let's do it.
Say, I am amazing.
I am amazing.
I am wonderful.
I am wonderful.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am perfect.
I am perfect.
To become more of me.
To become more of me.
I am successful.
I am successful.
Because I am.
Because I am.
I am love.
I am love.
I am patient.
I am patient.
I am grateful.
I'm grateful.
I am a sweet genius.
I am a sweet genius.
Because I'm full of the essence of my higher being.
Because I'm full of the essence of my higher being.
I'm not my story.
I am not my story.
I'm not your story.
I'm not your story.
I just
am.
So let's have fun.
So let's have fun.
Let's believe in the best.
Let's believe in the best.
For the best.
For the best
is now.
Is now. Oh man, you gave us the full-time effect. How shifting our identity manifests our higher self.
That's it.
That's it.
Pow, wham, bang.
I love it.
Pow.
Wow. If you want to dive into even more growth, just go to StephenCanyon.com and check out all of the beautiful resources that Stephen has created there for us. We've got the 21-day abundance online e-course. We have the 100-day guided journal, all powerful things. And make sure you check out his Facebook page, his Instagram account. That's all at Stephen Canyon. And you can send Stephen texts anytime you want to at 844-844-0049.
And just a little tease on something that's coming up in just a few months. We are putting together a live in-person retreat in Costa Rica for you guys to be able to come down and spend a week with myself and Megan. We're excited about it. We're going to do it. It's coming up later on this year.
That's the inside scoop.
Sending out much love and light to all you KB creatives all around the world.
Thanks as usual, Steve, for all the love, light, and wisdom.
Bye.